It is my pleasure to introduce Bill Houghton. In addition to being an all-around fun guy who can really give a good shoulder massage when you are just dying, he has served as the president of the Landings Company in Savannah, beautiful Savannah, Georgia. He is not just a pretty face, he is a graduate of Syracuse University as well as the Wharton School of Business. He has brought such a wealth of talent to our board of directors, and we are pleased to have him speak to you this morning on a very important topic, which is our seal of approval communities and the program that we are trying to develop. He is instrumental in pinning some added value to our seal of approval product. So he is joined by Team Linda behind us. We have Linda Bennett with Choose Chattanooga, and we have Linda Mayhood with Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Without any further ado, help me welcome our panel.
Thank you, and thank you, Linda and Linda. I'm Bill Houghton. Good to see everybody here alive and awake this morning. We're having some sound issues, I think. I may bail on this. Let's see how it goes. I guess if we threw the short straw, we got to do the presentation the night after Shine. So those of you who are here, we appreciate your diligence. What we're going to talk about a little bit today is the seal of approval. What we're going to talk about today is the seal of approval. Obviously, you saw the title of the presentation, but we want to talk a little bit about earning it, and that's part of the program that has not changed. Some things about exploiting it, which is what we're all going to jointly talk about as to how we have all used it and ways that you can use it to your advantage going forward. Exploiting is such a horrible, nasty word, but that's what we encourage you to do. And then what's new with the program? And that's some of the exciting consumer things that we're adding on that we'll get to at the end, and then again open up the panel discussion. The initial concept, well, that's actually not the initial concept, that's just the seal of approval. The initial concept was really to provide a business-to-business endorsement. You've all probably seen Underwriters Labs, you may not even know what it means, but it has it creates a sense of credibility. It creates a sense of endorsement that products use to differentiate themselves from others in the marketplace. The biggest example, and it's not as prevalent as it may have been a generation ago, is the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval. The Good Housekeeping Seal, as you can see, offered a limited warranty, has been around for over 100 years. It creates a sense of trust in a product. And that's really what the American Association of Retirement Communities wanted to do back in 2005 when they initiated the concept of the Seal of Approval program. Really, you can read this. It's really to try and create some criteria and some endorsement for folks who are seeking to attract retirees, to provide a sense of legitimacy, if you will, to folks who are seeking retirees. It is an application process. I'm going to jog you through in just a moment. That really is intended to make sure that you're meeting certain criteria, so that the seal of approval actually has some teeth to it, because it has to have some teeth in order for it to be effective. So, looking at different information sources that retirees see, we wanted to try and get into that game somewhat. There are associations like ourselves that are sources for retiree information. There's media, and there's websites. The association that we are oftentimes confused with, the AARC, they no longer call themselves the American Association of Retired Persons, just going with AARC in an attempt to broaden their scope to just people who are still working in their 50s. But that's the association that's got the biggest brand name. We had some folks from the AARC here earlier in the conference. A great source for retiree, not just for communities, but for investments, for travel, for a whole host of things. So that's one source that we are not at their scale. We are much more historically business to business. AARP is much more association to consume. There are also a lot of retiree publications out there, one of them being Ideal Living, the publisher, the editor, and the president of which is a member here. And we are trying to build a trusted brand to get into that milieu, and that's where the seal of approval really came from. So for you to earn the seal of approval, you're going to be able to see a whole bunch of stuff that's already and has already been on the website. I'm just going to jog you through a couple of the criteria, just to give you a sense. A lot of times people think, I really don't want to go through the hassle of this nightmare application. It's going to take me an awful lot of time. Really, the program is pretty simple, and it's really meant to take advantage and to publicize the things that you're already doing. So there's a series of, there's an application program. Actually, there are two different versions of the application. There's an application that's for communities or regions or towns and municipalities, and then there's a version that's for planned development, gated communities, if you will. So going through the town and region version, there's 9 sections. Housing, just looking for some information on your housing and senior housing. Health services, public safety. Just some basic questions to understand your community so that the board of directors and the panel that makes a decision on the seal can understand a little bit more about you. Transportation, restaurants, basic stuff that retirees need for the livability of the community. We've seen livability a lot during our discussions over the past few days. So shopping is an element, recreation, continuing education opportunities, and then volunteer opportunities. And then the planned community application is shorter. It's got some additional depth to each of the questions, but it's really only 3 areas. Support for the retiree side, quality of life amenities, and the structure of your community. So pretty simple stuff, not intended to be an onerous barrier to application, but intended to provide a framework to understand or to get the seal and to give the seal some. There's a great summary available on the website of all that stuff. I encourage you to go to the AARC site and click on the seal of approval page. But there's a very good section that goes into a little bit more detail, certainly, than I just was able to go into. Now, exploiting the seal of approval. Again, exploiting, a terrible term, but it's what we encourage you to do to make best use of it. Just as the applications are different between towns and municipalities and planned communities, the needs of the seal of approval are somewhat different. Now, we all use it for that sense of legitimacy. We all use it for that sense of endorsement. We all use it to try and differentiate ourselves from other communities and other places that are also seeking retirees. The towns and municipalities also have a need to use it for economic development, obviously, to show that they are committed to bringing retirees, to bring the community together behind the effort, something that when you're working for a municipality, you generally have more different stakeholders that you need to align than if you were working in a development. And then the planned development is really truly looking at it more as a marketing aspect. Now, that's not to say, again, that the municipalities don't use it for marketing or shouldn't use it for marketing. But if you're looking for the emphases of the decision-making process for those who've chosen to be in the program, very broadly, that's the differentiation point. And you saw a good example of that on Thursday, or Wednesday, excuse me, when Kingsport and the region, spearheaded by Jeff, I hate standing behind a podium. I feel like I'm kind of preaching, so I don't get to jitter around. So, thank you. I don't remember. You saw the good example of bringing the community stakeholders together with the Kingsport earning the seal of approval, and all the people who were involved in that, and the great things that it did, bringing the community together. And that's kind of a textbook example of a way that the seal of approval can be used by a community, by a municipality, and really a very strong positive, and we as an organization are very proud to have that Kingsport has done what they've done with this conference as well as with the seal. So kudos again to Jeff and to all the folks here who were involved and who have been involved in our program. But the endorsement side is marketing, looking at the marketing portion of the equation. Endorsement, and there have been a lot of different presentations over the past couple of days about the changing decision process for retirees. And I'm not going to regurgitate all of those for you. Some excellent content, though, that has been passed along over the past couple of days. But I think the bottom line that any of you who are marketers certainly recognize is that the old process of generate a lead, get them to come visit, and they'll buy something is really no longer the paradigm that your prospect and your buyers follow. We no longer control the flow of information. The information is available out there, and the consumer is going to get that information, become engaged at their own pace. Specifically, you know, with more technology and more spam and such out there, the retiree buyer doesn't want to be sold, and you can't sell them. You need to get on their radar screen, frankly, and let them collect information at their own pace. And one of the good ways to do that, one of the ways to deepen the engagement, and the engagement, you know, at the end of the path there, is to get that third-party endorsement, get some additional content out there about you, establish more credibility, and again, get that deeper engagement, get folks to come and kick the tires at your place, without being a sales funnel. You know, the sales funnel graphics that we all had in our PowerPoints 5 or 10 years ago just don't make sense. Interactive endorsement, you know, there's your search engine rankings, where you appear in key searches that for things that you are or that your community represents, is another form of endorsement. So you appear higher up in Google and Yahoo, and there was again a very good presentation on that yesterday. But you appear high in those rankings, and that is a form of endorsement. People look at Google as a trusted source, saying that if they key in something, Google is going to give them the best source. So your goal is going to be to raise higher in those rankings. And search engine optimization, the fancy term for trying to bump yourself up higher on those rankings, are aided by things like links in and out of your site, links from the seal of approval site, links from other media sites that are actually used and that build your credibility. So an endorsement like the seal of approval can improve your rankings otherwise. So it doesn't just provide traffic that way. So what's new with the seal of approval program? The fact that 10,000 baby boomers turn 60 every day is not new. This is news that's been trumpeted up and down the line for a decade. This is news that you know, really kind of spurred the boom in real estate 10 years ago as people or as developers looked to capture that incoming wave. So that's not news. But as we saw, for those of you who were around for Jim Taylor's presentation the other day on Wednesday, you saw that there's some pent-up buyer demand, we hope, but I think the statistics bear that out. We want to help that pent-up demand find your community. And we want to be able to provide more tools, not just information, which has been the normal paradigm that the American Association of Retirement Communities has followed, not just passing along information and education and networking to you, but also to provide a consumer face. We're not ever going to be Google. We're not ever going to be at that scale, but we can provide some tools to help guide folks, to get folks engaged with your community. So we've started some exciting consumer marketing efforts at a smaller scale, because this is a fairly new initiative, but we're adding a consumer face to the seal of approval program that was not there before. And we've done that with both traditional and with some online marketing efforts. So the consumer marketing efforts that we've done, you've probably all seen copies of the Ideal Living Magazine Best Places to Retire issue. I know we've got probably a copy of that around here somewhere. I know that they had them out in the foyer. But in that issue, there's an article about the AARC and specifically about the seal of approval program. So building a little base of awareness of the program amongst and Vanna has our copy of the magazine. You know, building a base of awareness amongst a pretty good readership. You know, Ideal Living and that retirement guide has a circulation of 120,000, Dave, or 150,000 readers. It touches a lot of people. Has an online version. Good footprint. So really good exposure. We thank Dave Robertson and the team at RPI Media for their assistance with that PR effort. Additional consumer marketing efforts. There's a cooperative newspaper insert going out in conjunction with 3 of the Ideal Living Expos coming up this coming January, February. There's going to be a total of 450,000 mini magazines produced that are going to be really cooperative vehicles for communities that are participating in those shows, that the seal of approval is going to have some good exposure in. So we're going to get another 450,000 sized footprint out there for the seal of approval program, and it's a nice opportunity, again, piggybacking on some other opportunities for people who are looking at retiring. And then changing the scope, creating a new website, and this website is brand new, so much so that all the functionality of it is not fully working, but it is up and out there, and it's the website retirementdestinations.org. We are a nonprofit organization, thus the .org. So the new consumer face, the new consumer-friendly website is intended to have search options and provide a resource for folks who are searching for retirement communities. There are lots of different websites and such out there. We're not aiming to compete necessarily with them. We're looking to supplement that and get a public face out there and an opportunity for you folks to, or for our seal of approval communities to get their presence out there further. And we're confident that we can generate some incremental traffic for your website if you're a seal of approval community, people who are looking around for places that meet basic criteria. And it's an exciting opportunity. So currently, the seal of approval has a web page on the AARC site. And that is the member-focused site. The content on this site really is the application process. So if you go to the AARC.com, I know you probably can't read that really well, the application and the description are all there. So this will still exist in one way, shape, or form. The seal of approval on the AARC's site is going to be there for member information. What we're doing, however, is creating at retirementdestinations.org a more consumer-friendly look that leads off with a sorting capability and has some other consumer-focused things. And we're going to be adding bells and whistles onto this as we get the enterprise up and running. So we're excited about the new look. We're excited about the new functionality. That is going to be evolving. It is certainly not done, but we wanted to get it up and ready to show to you folks. We're doing some very exciting things also to get people to that site. We're working a banner ad program with topretirements.com. You can see the link on their Guide to Best Communities page. So it's an exciting opportunity to capitalize on the traffic that they are getting to get some people onto our site. So we're investing some of the organization's funds in growing this program. We're investing in creating a public face, again, not to try to be something that we are not, but to give more of a respected brand name and adding that to your respected brand name. So, becoming a seal of approval community, the application process is not onerous, nor are the fees to join. If you're as an AARC member, as a community, there's a $100 initial application fee. The fee to be a seal of approval community is all of $150 a year. Those of us in marketing, and Wade and myself and some others, if you calculate what your cost per lead is, historically and actually right now, the cost per lead at the landings is about $150. So if I manage to yield one incremental lead out of this, the program has paid for itself. We're hoping to do a bit better than that. This is, again, not going to open the floodgates, but this is going to generate more traffic, and we encourage you who are using Google Analytics on your site to see where your traffic's coming from, and we hope to drive more business that way. So there's also bonus exposure if you are currently a seal of approval community, and there are a number of you. We're grandfathering you in. We've asked for some of your photos and information, and I'll show you some of that on the website. But we're giving you some bonus exposure up there right now, where we're not gonna, where you haven't been billed for 2012, and we're not going to bill you until your membership renews in 2013. So exciting bonus exposure for those who've supported the program, and we appreciate that support. So the bottom line, the AARC is a respected resource for the industry, and we're adding a consumer face to it to add some additional value to your membership. Because what we want to be, we always want to be viewed as a strong value to you. Because we are an organization where we all learn from each other. We are an organization where we all learn best practices from each other. And adding a consumer face to it adds value to that and helps the organization, helps us all. So I've got I think, assuming I do this right, I've got the new website down here. Okay. So right now, the existing site just has a list of folks. What we've done is we've added some photography. We've added some of the logos for people. You can sort based upon criteria. Now, a lot of that is not fully functional yet, but that's the first thing that people will hit. So it's really intended to be much more consumer friendly and inviting. So it's a good program. It's being managed by the Barul Group. Jason Murray from Barul was here presenting to us yesterday. And so they're doing an awful lot of the back-end things that will help to generate or to help to augment the search engine optimization. So we're very excited that this is going to be a growing tool. And again, it's not fully completed. All of its functionality is not done. But if you've got a community, if your community was listed on the previous site, you will be listed here, and keep track and see what kind of business it generates for you. And on that note, the panel discussion portion of the discussion is really to see how communities have utilized and are utilizing the Seal of Approval program. And we've got two Seal of Approval communities, Linda, and I don't know which of you would like to go first. And one is a town and municipality, one is a destination community. Linda, I'll let you chat if you...
Good morning. I'm Linda Mayhood, and we are I am from Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. We are a master plan community. We are the largest in the United States. We have 35,000 property owners. We're on 26,000 acres, 11 lakes, 9 golf courses. The list goes on. And we are located about 45 miles from Little Rock, Arkansas. So we're in the Ouachita Mountains. Gorgeous community. One of the reasons we decided to pursue this opportunity was that our state, unlike Mississippi and Tennessee and some of the others, did not have a retiree relocation. We have been to Little Rock, to the Capitol, many times, and they call Diana and Ramey and get information, and every time we pursue it, and then it kind of dies. So we decided this was a good opportunity for us to have that seal on our community because we were marketing nationwide. We had Eric Estrada as our spokesperson. You've probably seen our ads late night on the East and West Coast. And in the early ads, that seal was on there, and then as they changed their marketing firms, but they were spending, when they were in our community, about $1 million a month. And some of those late night ads, they did have the AARC on that. We also use that seal in our negotiations with different companies to locate outside our gates. And we knew we were in the big time when we got Walmart on the outside of our gates. And we actually, in all of our presentations that we do to the off-site corporate, we use that. And even after the meetings, they've asked me about that. What does that mean? And there again, like Bill said and others, it's like a good housekeeping seal that you've met the criteria to, for retirees and others to relocate your community, that you have the amenities that they're looking for, everything from health care, that's very important, to higher education. In Arkansas, if you're over 65, you get free tuition. That's a big thing. So to any higher education that they may want to go to. We also use it in all of our print and digital ads. We're redoing our website and doing a lot of microsites and marketing that will be all on there, that we will use that. We have 500 employees and probably 2,500 volunteers in the visitor center. They are all trained, and when people ask about that, they all know how to respond to that and what that means to us as a community, and having those amenities. And I believe we're the only master plan community right now. I think you're. The landings just was approved. So, okay. But we encourage all of you to apply for this, because we feel like this will be very helpful when you're marketing your community to others. So.
And I'm Linda Bennett with Choose Chattanooga. We are the Hamilton County representative in the Retire Tennessee program. And we were also one of the first 9 pilot communities, and there's some others here in the room too that were part of that group. If you were part of the Retire Tennessee pilot, I know Sullivan County was, back here, Rachel, Cumberland. So we have several that were part of that initial group that started marketing in the Northeast with what used to be called Live South shows. We decided as a community to apply for the seal of approval because we knew that, first of all, we were marketing to a group outside of the region that wasn't very familiar in many cases with communities in the South. I remember one of the very first shows that we did in Long Island, and people were still trying to get their bearings about where is Tennessee, and we realized we needed maps, and then we realized that if we would have the cost of living comparison, that would really help us, because they were asking if our property taxes for a year were for the month, and had to explain that no, this was for a year. So and as a mid-sized city, we were in a different position than some of our other Retire Tennessee partners, because we recognized that our AARC seal of approval, I think we're the largest mid-sized city. So we wanted some things that would set us apart, and also knew that consumers were looking for credible information, a place that they could go to make sure that the product they were looking at was the best that the market had to offer. So having some sort of criteria, making sure that there is a process that communities can go through that help the consumer identify where's a good place to start, because they really are trying to get their bearings. In our community, the AARC, our Choose Chattanooga program, the stakeholders that make up our board represent a wide variety of representatives of the community, everyone from hospitals to arts and culture, of course the learning community, and so our board is made up of those stakeholders that are the investors and the leaders in our particular community. We just, as a mid-sized city, have just moved our office to the development district, which we still maintain that Retire Tennessee connection with Hamilton County, but we recognize that Chattanooga is a feeder market for our regional partners. It took a little while. We constantly are coming back to Jeff Fleming for his data and how he's able to kind of mine a lot of that information in terms of the economic benefit of a person who relocates to a community. But we also found that it took us about 5 years to get some numbers from the census to show us that in that 55 to 65 demographic, that 5,500 new people had moved into the Chattanooga metro area. And out of those numbers, about 38% had moved into our region. So we saw that the benefit was not just to the county and the work that we were doing in Hamilton, but it really had great benefits to the entire area. So I'm very excited about the new features that are coming with the AARC seal of approval. I think that's going to help the communities have new opportunities to market themselves. I also think on the consumer side that it's going to give consumers a lot of confidence as they they're seriously shopping. We know that they're looking, and if we can just give them tools that make that easier for them to do, it would be a great benefit for everyone.
Super, thanks. So I guess to summarize before we open it up to questions, the true goal of the program is to add more value to your membership in the AARC. This day and age, budgets are being scrutinized more than ever, so providing more of a consumer marketing angle can help us to help justify to our bosses, as we all have bosses, to help justify to our bosses the impact of the AARC and the seal of approval. So we appreciate those of you who have supported the program in the past. We're looking to make it bigger and better, and hope that more of you join. There is information in front of you, I believe, about the program. Actually, there's information up in the back, as Wade has pointed out to me. So if you have questions, feel free to see any of the AARC board members, myself, or see Wade or Ashley, or collect some information. With that, any questions on the program, on the enhancements, on how it's used? Yes, ma'am. That's definitely, it's been discussed. So yeah, we would, and we want to be more engaging and provide more of a full-scale resource, from different perspectives. So yeah, it definitely has been. I can't give you a timeline, but I know it's something that the board has discussed, and we would like to expand the program further. So it's a distinct possibility. Anybody? Any others? Yes, ma'am.
As far as the application goes, are there minimum standards that you have to meet as a community, or is it just kind of fill out the application, you pay your fee, and you're a member?
Well, there's a subcommittee of the AARC board that looks at the application, makes sure that it's valid. Most of you, by virtue of the fact that you're in a retirement program, the fact that you're here, speaks a lot to the commitment that you're making to retiree marketing and to attracting retirees. So typically, the people who are engaged, as you folks are, tend to be able to meet the criteria. It really is intended to evaluate the level of commitment, as both from the soft programming and on the infrastructure side. So there is a committee that goes out and evaluates and makes sure they are not intended to be onerous, but they are intended to show that there is a commitment. But again, the folks who are already making this level of commitment typically have made the criteria. But if you'd like to have more detail on that, we'd be happy to talk offline.
You can see me if you're a community. I'm the one that reviews the community applications, and Frank Carmel is the one that reviews the planned community applications. So yeah. It's not just fill out the application, give us the money, and you're in. There are standards. So otherwise, what difference do it make?
Yeah. Well, that's what, not knowing the details,
Nope.
It just sounds like another buyer's guide, or it's in the chamber.
Nope.
Where you just pay membership fees.
No, you're exactly right, and that's the goal of the program. Is to have some meat and have some teeth. Just like again the good housekeeping seal of approval, the consumer doesn't necessarily know the full scope of what's involved with that, but it does add a sense of credibility. We want to make sure that we don't tarnish our brand by just making it a rubber stamp. Now, if you write a big enough check or you supply Diana with a stack of 20s, maybe that would do something. But. Yeah, Dave.
More of a comment than a question.
Sorry, this is questions only.
The seal of approval is an excellent way to get feedback to guide your program to where it's trying to go. So even if Diana or Frank don't approve your application, they'll give you feedback on things that you can do to improve your program. So in many senses, it's a way to get a consultative look at your program for a very inexpensive amount. So don't think of it as we
Yeah, that's the goal of the overall organization anyway, for all of us to glean best practices from others and to find ways that we can be constantly improving. So that's a very good point. Other questions, thoughts, or comments? Thank you so much for your time. Hope the coffee is hitting the bloodstream for us all, and enjoy the rest of your time.